Let's start with something most people completely underestimate: drinking too little water. Not dramatically too little, not survival level dehydration, just slightly below what your body quietly needs every single day. Your kidneys are precision filters. They process around 50 gallons of blood daily, separating waste from what your body still needs. But here's the part people miss. They can only do this efficiently when there's enough fluid to carry toxins out of the body. Water isn't just a beverage, it's the transport system. It's the medium through which waste leaves your bloodstream. When you consistently underhydrate, even mildly, your blood becomes more concentrated. Sodium levels rise. Waste products like urea and creatinine become harder to dilute and eliminate. Your kidneys are forced to concentrate urine more aggressively, pulling water back into the body to preserve what little you've given it. Over time, this creates an environment where crystals can form, stones develop, inflammation increases. The filtration units, the nephrons, begin to experience stress that they were never designed to sustain chronically. And here's the psychological trap. Because the damage is silent, you assume everything is fine. Kidney decline doesn't announce itself loudly in the beginning. There's no dramatic warning, just subtle fatigue, maybe headaches. Perhaps darker urine that you ignore. The body whispers long before it screams. Philosophically, this reflects something deeper about human behavior. We respond to urgency, not maintenance. We wait for pain before we change. But the kidneys operate on long timelines. They reward consistency and punish neglect slowly. It's not the single day of low water intake that harms you. It's the pattern, the habit, the unconscious dismissal of something fundamental. Chronic mild dehydration has also been linked to higher risk of kidney stones and may contribute to long-term kidney function decline, especially in people already at risk. When waste remains more concentrated, the likelihood of crystallization increases, and once kidney damage progresses, it is often irreversible. You cannot negotiate with scar tissue. So this isn't about drinking excessive amounts of water. It's about respecting biological design. The human body evolved expecting regular hydration, not sporadic correction. The question isn't whether you feel thirsty. The question is whether you are living in a way that supports the organs keeping you alive. Because ignoring your kidneys won't hurt today. But one day, it will. Now let's move to the opposite extreme. The belief that if some water is good, then more must be better. This is where good intentions quietly become physiological stress. Your kidneys are extraordinarily intelligent regulators. They balance fluids, electrolytes, and blood pressure with remarkable precision, but they are designed for steady input, not sudden overload. When you consume large amounts of water in a short period, chugging bottle after bottle because you suddenly remembered you haven't had enough today, you dilute the sodium concentration in your bloodstream. This condition, known as hyponatremia, disrupts the delicate electrical balance that your nerves and muscles depend on. Water in excess stops behaving like nourishment and starts behaving like a disruptor. When sodium levels fall too quickly, cells begin to swell as water shifts into them. In extreme cases, this can lead to confusion, headaches, nausea, and even neurological complications. Now, most people won't reach dangerous extremes, but that's not the point. The real issue is that your body prefers rhythm over chaos. The kidneys can excrete excess water, yes, but they can only do so at a certain rate. Flood the system and you create temporary imbalance. Do this habitually and you train your body into cycles of dilution and correction. That's not optimal biology. That's reactive biology. Psychologically, this pattern mirrors something deeper. We often oscillate between neglect and overcompensation. We ignore hydration all day, then attempt to fix it in 10 minutes. It's the same mindset behind crash diets and extreme workouts. We treat health as something to repair urgently, rather than something to maintain consistently. But the body doesn't thrive under extremes. It thrives under stability. Hydration is not a competition. It's not about carrying the largest bottle or forcing yourself to drink beyond. Comfort. Thirst is not your enemy. It's a signal. The goal is to stay gently ahead of it, not to drown it. True health is rarely dramatic. It's disciplined. It's measured. It respects biological limits. If dehydration is slow neglect, then overhydration is impatient correction, and wisdom lives in neither extreme. It lives in balance. Now, let's talk about timing, because hydration is not just about how much you drink, but when you drink it. Most people rely entirely on thirst as their guide. They wait until their mouth feels dry, their energy dips, or a headache appears. But physiologically, thirst is a lagging indicator. By the time you feel thirsty, your body has already entered a state of mild dehydration. Blood osmolality has risen. Your kidneys have already begun conserving fluid. Hormones like vasopressin are actively working to retain water. In other words, the stress response has already started. And when you repeatedly ignore early signals, your body adapts. Not in a good way. Chronic reliance on intense thirst can dull your awareness of subtler cues. You normalize fatigue, you normalize brain fog, you normalize darker urine. The extraordinary becomes ordinary. There's also the issue of drinking at the wrong times. For example, consuming large volumes of water late at night may seem harmless, even healthy, but it can fragment sleep through repeated awakenings to urinate. And sleep is when the body repairs, including the kidneys. Disrupt sleep consistently, and you introduce another layer of stress. Cortisol rises, blood pressure regulation shifts, recovery declines. Hydration, like most biological processes, follows rhythm. Your body operates on circadian patterns, cycles of activity and restoration. Drinking small, steady amounts during the day aligns with this rhythm. Flooding your system at night disrupts it. Psychologically, this reflects something deeper about awareness. We tend to live reactively. We respond to discomfort instead of preventing it. We wait for urgency before we act. But the body rewards anticipation. It rewards consistency. It rewards respect for timing. The goal is not to obsess over ounces or set alarms every hour. The goal is attentiveness. A glass of water in the morning, steady intake through the afternoon, a gentle tapering in the evening. This is not extreme discipline. It is intelligent cooperation with your biology. Your kidneys are not separate from your daily habits. They respond to your rhythm. And if you want long-term health, you must stop reacting to thirst and start respecting timing. And finally, we need to talk about something people rarely consider when they think about hydration. Not just how much water you drink, but what kind of water and what other habits surround it. Because your kidneys don't process water in isolation. They process everything you consume. If the water is contaminated, heavy metals, industrial pollutants, excessive fluoride, microbial toxins, your kidneys become the frontline defense. They filter relentlessly, separating what can be eliminated from what might accumulate. In many parts of the world, long-term exposure to contaminated water has been directly associated with chronic kidney disease. The damage doesn't come from one glass. It comes from repeated exposure over years, quiet accumulation, silent burden. But even beyond contamination, consider what many people count as hydration. Sugary beverages, energy drinks, excessive caffeine, artificially flavored liquids marketed as healthy alternatives. These are not neutral. High sugar intake increases insulin demand and metabolic stress, indirectly affecting kidney function over time. Chronic high-sodium diets force the kidneys to retain and excrete more aggressively, altering blood pressure regulation. Excess caffeine can act as a diuretic in some individuals, increasing fluid turnover without necessarily improving true hydration. In other words, the quality of what you drink can either reduce your kidney's workload or multiply it. There's also a philosophical layer here. We often look for shortcuts. We assume that as long as we hit our water goal, the job is done. B. Ute biology doesn't operate on technicalities. It operates on total input. The kidneys don't care about your tracking app. They respond to chemistry. Clean, mineral-balanced water supports filtration. A diet moderate in salt reduces pressure on the nephrons. Limiting ultra-processed beverages lowers the toxic load. These aren't dramatic interventions. They are foundational choices. And foundations determine longevity. The kidneys are not organs you can easily repair once damaged. Dialysis is not a lifestyle upgrade. Transplant is not a casual solution. Prevention is not optional. It is intelligent design in action. So ask yourself, are you hydrating to nourish your body or simply to satisfy a metric? Because the difference between long-term kidney health and slow decline may come down to the unseen quality of what flows through you every single day.